don't wanna see anybody fall apart. Even though you told me to get back your heart, I still spin inside your orbit. Yeah. You say that I should probably start to walk away. I'm hoping that you'll stop and make me have to stay, 'cause I'm floating in your orbit. Yeah, I'm stuck in your space. Just my luck, push me away. You wanna stay.
Hey guys, and welcome to TA Tech. So in today's video, I'll be comparing 4 different cloud gaming platforms to tell you exactly which one you should buy. So I know 2 months ago, I released a video comparing these 4 platforms, but many of you reached out to me and told me that the comparison was not fair. So for that reason, I made changes to compare these platforms in an unbiased way, and I'm gonna explain to you how. So here is how it's gonna go. So for each cloud gaming platform, I'm gonna compare the controls, the user friendliness, stream settings, and quality and smoothness. So basically, every category is gonna be rated out of 10 for each platform. So these points will be added to the total, so at the end of the video we know which cloud game service is the best for you to buy. Let's get started. So firstly, let's start with the controls. For each app, I'm going to show you the controls options that you have. So I'm going to start with Stadia and tell you which kind of controls you could expect with this one. So I'm really glad with Stadia because it supports every third-party controller they could buy for Android, as well as the Xbox controller and the PS4 controller. But Stadia pushes it a step forward. So I found the on-screen controls with Stadia to be very well optimized, and I played every game with it and it was really fun. So this, in my opinion, gives Stadia the full marks in the controls category. So now let's talk about Vortex Cloud Gaming controls. So I can safely say for this one, I've tried every single third-party controller that's been sent out to me and it worked, as well as the Xbox controller and the PS4 controller. So I'm really happy with the controller support for this one. So how about the on-screen controls? I could tell you that on-screen controls with this one are really snappy, and they're really nice to play with. I really like they have the option, just like Stadia, to slide across the screen to aim, which makes it so much easier when playing FPS games. So Vortex Cloud Gaming gets the full marks in this category. Okay, now let's talk about the cloud gaming service that's provided by Microsoft. So the Xcloud or Xbox streaming app sadly does not support on-screen controls, which leaves it behind in the controls category. But to be fair, on-screen controls are not the best way to play cloud gaming services. When you play with on-screen controls, it's hard to control the game unless you play in a platformer. But luckily, Microsoft makes up for it by allowing third-party controllers and the Xbox controller, as well as the PS4 controller. Yes, you can play the PS4 controller on the Xbox streaming app. So now let's talk about the 4th app, which is provided by Nvidia, Geforce Now. So just like all the other apps on the list, this app lets you play with any controller that you have. So basically any third-party controller, PS4 controller, and Xbox controller all works with this app. As for the on-screen controls, it does have it, but there is a little problem with it. So the problem is with the on-screen controls for Geforce Now that you cannot swipe across the screen to aim, which makes it impossible for you to play FPS games. So this means Geforce Now drops some points in the controls category. So now let's see how the table looks like for the controls. So I gave Stadia a 10 out of 10 as well as Vortex Cloud Gaming. This is because they have superior on-screen controls compared to the other two. So Geforce Now gets an 8. This is because of the issue we talked about with swiping across the screen. As for Xbox Stream app, it gets a 5. This is because it doesn't have on-screen controls at all. Okay, so now let's start with the second category, which is user friendliness. So with this one, I'll be comparing how easy it is for you to access your games on each app. So firstly, I'm going to start with Stadia, and let's see how easy it is for you to run the apps on Stadia. So with Stadia, it loads in quite fast, and all you need to do is click on the game that you want, and it's going to start running. That's how simple it is. There's no sign-ins, there's nothing else, and the game runs really quickly. The Google Cloud is very fast with running the games. I mean, the loading time is insane with this one. I mean, you click on the game, it takes less than 10 seconds for the game to run, which is quite impressive for this one. So I'll give it 10 out of 10 in this category. So next with the Xbox streaming app. Of course, this app is still in beta, so we're not going to judge it by this, but I don't really like the animations that the app start with. It's really slow, there's no need for it. I think it should just jump to the app straight away. However, this is my only complaint with this one. Accessing the games is quite easy, running the games, it doesn't take long for the game to run, the loading times are not so long, so it's very good. I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10 as well. Okay, now let's start with Vortex Cloud Gaming. This is an app provided by Pedal. With this one, the app launches pretty quickly. They click on the app and the games are there and you can just navigate through them and run them. The only problem with this, I'm going to show you now. So this app takes a little while to connect, but the problem is it's going to always ask you to sign in. Every time you run the game, it's going to ask you to sign in. Whenever you sign in and click remember me, and that doesn't work. And honestly, it's quite annoying. Every time it asks you to sign in, every time you send the code to your email for your Steam account and give the code, honestly, it's a deal breaker for me. I'm going to give it 4 out of 10 in this category. So last but not least, NVIDIA Geforce Now, which is an app provided by NVIDIA. With this app, it's quite simple and easy to access the games. The categories are very clear and searching for your game is quite simple. But also there's a problem with it. This takes very long. The network check is very long and I don't know why every time you run a game, there is a network check before it. It's very frustrating and I don't like it. The second thing is, as you see here, it remembers my user. The Steam user is remembered, but the thing is with it, when you press on it, it's going to ask you to log in again. I've tried it multiple times. Sometimes it remembered me and let me log in straight away. The other times it's just asking for a code again. It's really annoying, but it's not as bad as Vertex Cloud Gaming. So I'm just going to give it a 7 out of 10 in this category. So here are the results for this one. As you can see here, Stadia is ahead of all the apps behind it. So let's see if any other app can make a comeback and become the champ. So the next one is stream settings. So I'm going to compare how much each app lets you change the settings of the stream to make it easy for your internet connection to handle. Of course, many of us don't have good internet, so you want to dial down the settings of the stream, the quality and the frame rates to make it suitable for your internet. So of course, we're going to start with Stadia. And to be honest, I'm not very pleased with it. There's two settings for you. There's the high settings at 120p and the second settings for 720p. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like it that they have some settings for you to change, but they're not good enough. So in this category, I'll give it a 5. So now let's talk about Geforce Now, which is an absolute beast when it comes to stream settings. So when you go to the settings, there's an option for stream quality, and this lets you change everything. So you can change the frames per second, you can change how the quality of the stream is, and you can put your internet connection, and you can put auto as well, which is quite good. I mean, it's gonna pick up your internet connection, and this is why it does a check every time you start a game, so it can optimize it for you to play. So I really like this one. I'm gonna give it a 10 out of 10 when it comes to stream settings. Okay, now let's talk about Vertex Cloud Gaming. I know this one was not user-friendly and the signings were terrible, but it does have very good stream settings for you to change. I mean, you can change the stream quality and of course you can change the frames per second, which is really good. I mean, you can see your internet and of course you can change it based on your internet. So I really like what they've done here with the stream settings and I give it 9 out of 10 in this category. And now the Xbox streaming app, which is of course my personal favorite for many reasons because I like Xbox games. But the thing is here, it let me down. There's no stream settings. You can't change anything in the stream. All you can do is just allow mobile data and that's it. I mean, you can't change anything and it's locked at 720p. I mean, it's good for some people. It's good for most internet connections, but it's not good enough that you can't customize it. And it's still in beta. I'm not going to be harsh on it. So I'm going to give it a 0 in this category and move on. So this is how the scores look like after the round has finished. So now let's go to the final round, which is the quality and the smoothness of the streams. So first, let's start with the quality of the streams. I mean, I can't see a difference on a small screen when I played, so I'm not sure if you can see a difference for yourself, but I can tell you that the Xbox streaming app is locked at 720p and their other apps can run the games at 1080p. So let's talk about the smoothness, which is something we'll see a difference at. So the first one we'll talk about is Geforce Now. As you can see here, it's pretty smooth. I like playing with Geforce Now. When you play with it, you feel like you're playing with a console. It's close to the console experience and it's really, really nice. The stream is very smooth. I think it's running at 60 FPS. I couldn't measure it. It doesn't give you data, but it's really smooth and I really, really like it. And now with Stadia, which is in my opinion, the smoothest one out of them all. The experience is absolutely amazing and I give it full marks in this category. There's no doubt. So this one now is Vertex Cloud Gaming. And I think this one is quite underwhelming, to be honest, because they offered 60 FPS at the start, but when you play the game and show statistics, it gives you 30 FPS, which is quite weird for them to give you 60 FPS, but at the same time, when you play the game, you get 30 FPS. But I really like the smoothness. It is the least smooth experience in this one, so in this category, I'll give it 5 out of 10. And last but not least is the Xbox streaming app. So this one is quite complicated. The app is still in beta, so we can't really judge it that much. But the thing is about this app, it's really, really smooth, even though it's giving you 30 frames per second, but they're always so steady and you feel like you're playing on an Xbox. The quality is really good and the smoothness is really nice. So I do give it an 8 out of 10 in this category. So the comparison is done and the results are here. And as you can see for yourself, you can pick an app that suits you the most. Look at the category that you want and look if you prefer smoothness, if you prefer the stream quality, the settings, whatever you prefer, choose an app that provides the best experience for you. So for me, in my opinion, my favorite one, of course, is the Xbox streaming app. This is because it has the Xbox games. And of course, it has the feature that lets you play your own Xbox as a server and you can just stream your Xbox wherever you are. And the second favorite one for me, of course, Geforce Now. I know a lot of people like Stadia, but for me, Geforce Now is the second favorite. This is because it lets you have PC level graphics and you can change the graphics to high, medium, ultra, whatever you want. It's RTX on. It's just the settings there inside the games is just ahead of everything else. I know many of you want to talk about the game selections and what games each app has. Everything is different on each app. There are some overlapping games, but I mean, you could choose the games based on the games that you like. So check every website for each app and check the games that they have. And of course, then you can decide which one that you prefer. So that's it for me, guys. I mean, I hope you liked this video. I know it was a long video and I was talking for a very long time, but I hope that I helped you decide which cloud gaming service is the best one for you. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you like the channel, subscribe, and peace.